What's going on, guys? It's Nathan. Welcome to another episode of Hyperspace Hype Comic-Con Cosplay Edition. This is episode number 27, where we will be discussing very exciting potential projects of the future of Disney Plus and Lucasfilm. Joining us, as always, we have Evan.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm very excited to talk about all the Make Solo 2 Happen stuff going on. Maybe Make Solo 2 happen without Han Solo and without Chewie. Very weird stuff going on. But yeah, can we talk about that and all the release date changes for the new Star Wars movies?
Also joining us, we have Carson.
It is Make Solo 2 happen, and honestly, at this point, make everything happen. I feel like we have a different rumor every single day. And yeah, let's sort through it all. There's just so much. Like we haven't had an episode in 2 weeks, and I feel like all of a sudden, like day after day, rumor mill. And yeah, you can put it in there. Sorry, I'm distracted. But yeah, I can't wait to talk about all this stuff. And there's so much Star Wars on Disney Plus that I think is either in production or is going to be announced soon. That just so much stuff on the horizon. Can't wait to dive into it all.
So to a point real quick, right before we started here, we just got off of our previous live stream, and I was like, okay, I'm going to cosplay. I'm going to put on this Jedi robes. I left my overcoat robes off because it's too much. There's so many layers. But I got into placement, and then I realized I'm also hopping on another live stream after this. So it's 3 streams in a row, and I didn't eat today, so I knew I had to eat something.
Oh,
and
no.
So,
Nathan, every podcast.
I know, but no, I've eaten now. I had a banana and some peanut butter. But I was eating it in my robes, and I was just like, oh my God, be careful.
Yeah, don't.
I was like, oh God, not peanut butter. But yeah, so we're good. Anyway, in regards to many different things, as breaking stories coming out from Kessel Run Transmissions, I believe it is, with Noah and Corey. They were discussing a lot of big things that broke. Most importantly, it looks like we will actually be making Solo 2 happen one step at a time. The biggest news that broke is the thought of the Lando Calrissian project coming out of not only with Donald Glover, but also Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, this was initially very surprising because I'm all for Make Solo 2 happen. Today I'm wearing the Make Solo 2 happen t-shirt because I have to. But it's very fascinating because at this point, it seems like we're getting a lot of series without Han and Chewie, first of all, but we're getting like a lot of different series per character from Solo. So like there's like the rumored Qi'ra, Maul, Crimson Dawn stuff. Then we got Lando coming in now. People are saying Han and Chewie is a given, but I'm like, that's 3 shows already based off of the Solo universe, and it just seems like a lot. And because I always had in my brain we could have a Make Solo 2 happen series, which includes all these characters. Like I always thought of it like,
which I still think it could be. I still think all these rumors could be from separate places, all talking about the same series. But what makes it weird is it threw me off with the Billy D. Williams news because I was like, yeah, it sounded, at least on when they dropped that news on their show, it sounded like Corey and Noah were talking about like a Lando centric show for this, where it would be kind of like, I don't know, and everyone started throwing around the idea of like the Calrissian Chronicles, where it would be like stories from both perspectives, or like Billy D. I would love the idea of Billy D, like, honestly, because the man is getting old. Let him just sit in a room and just like reminisce about Lando and just cut to
like
the
Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yeah.
That's actually a functioning thing. Is like they did that with Harrison Ford on the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. He just
yeah.
So I think that could be interesting. But like, but like Evan's saying, like, I don't know what the connectiveness about this is going to be, or are they going to be even focus on that Crimson Dawn storyline, or are we truly doing some separated shows where like Han and Chewie could show up in either of them in different contexts? Like, I don't know.
It seems crazy. Like Han is not arguably, is definitely, Han and Chewie as a team is definitely one of the most popular characters in TV and film history. I mean, so would you really start a show with Lando before Han and Chewie?
See, you say that, but at the same time, all these executives are sitting there being like, well, that Han Solo movie didn't do well.
So people like Damon Glover.
Like kind of those reaction. I mean, we have seen Lucasfilm be pretty reactionary as of the last kind of 3 years or so in terms of big picture stuff. I mean, we don't really know fully. Of course, these are all just rumors, but Corey and Noah accidentally scooped the Bad Batch show like months before anybody else got that.
Yeah.
And then it got officially confirmed. So I don't think we have reason to doubt them. So it's just interesting to see, because I think when we do get any of these officially announced, I think it will give us a better picture of like what the interconnectedness of them are, but also like what their kind of vision is for like, if it is like a solo universe. I don't know.
Because my main idea right now that their vision is to just do a lot of these spin-offs, which makes it seem weird because can you do a Lando show without including Han and Chewie? Because it's kind of like the same thing. Like, do you include Lando? How can you not include Lando in a Han movie, which they did? Like for the first solo movie, they included Lando. So it's the same thing, vice versa. But like, I don't want to be like I'm disappointed. Like as a black guy, I love that we're getting a black lead for Lando. It's very awesome. I'm very happy about that. We haven't had that at all in the Star Wars universe. Like even outside of the TV shows, we haven't had a Star Wars movie centered around a black actor before. Besides Finn, of course, was very important, but of course he's like the second protagonist to Rey.
Yeah, people kind of had like it's a weird recontextual connotation now of like thing, because like the whole marketing was built as Finn is the main character, and then while it is cool that the female lead takes over the role of the main character,
the saber.
It was also like recontextualized, like the white woman taking from the black lead.
It wasn't the best because I know JJ really wanted to surprise people with the whole Rey saber catch reveal. Like she's the real Jedi of the movie, not Finn. But it's also really awkward looking backwards now and kind of being like, people always thought like Finn was going to be the Jedi, but now they're disappointed because his arc in the later movies wasn't as.
And honestly, it wouldn't have been an issue if the marketing campaign so heavily, like you remember like the segmented pieces from Force Awakens marketing where it would like include Finn and not include Finn. Like that. I've seen those threads going around of like, this is the Chinese poster. We're gonna take Finn off, like stuff like that. It kind of like it confirmed. It makes it in the vein of something, more vicious than perhaps the actual story is. You know?
Like he's not as important or whatever.
Right, and so it's kind of.
And then you combine that with the racism stuff he got in The Force Awakens, combined with how he himself didn't like his role in The Last Jedi and how people didn't like his role in The Rise of Skywalker, and it's just very bad overall.
I think it all could have just been written like. I think he kind of reclaimed like his I love his arc in The Last Jedi. It's essential to the movie. I wish we would have seen more of a continuation of that now that he had a reason to fight, like what he has a reason to fight, and now I honestly thought we were going to get something with stormtroopers, and kind of like now that we've humanized Finn and we've shown him that he has choice and the ability to get away and fight for what's right. It's like it feels so natural that he would go down being a leader and like
a warrior path
of being someone who can understand that they're fighting the evil, but there are good people within that. And like, I just seems like such the obvious like angle of like scenes with him, like infiltrating a base and like having to, it doesn't even have to be like running into whoever that he like knew. Cause I know that we already got that kind of in Last Jedi, like traitor, like all that stuff. But I don't know. I think a lot of that narrative would have been eased out of people's minds if like he would have had a good send off as a character in Rise of Skywalker.
I agree. But going back to like the Lando thing, it just seems, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm grateful. I'm very happy to get a Lando series, but it just seems like way too many series. Because my main thing was, okay, let's get this Make Solo 2 happen. I think is one of the most important things for the Star Wars universe right now. Let's get that off and running. Yeah. But then let's move into the Leslie Headland show where it's brand new, apparently. It's very new, different set of characters. It's going to be unique. combined with Rebels sequel, whatever. Like I thought we were going into somewhere new, but now we got Cassian, Kenobi, Lando, possibly Crimson Dawn. We'll get into that. Possibly Han and Chewie. That's 5 right there, live action wise, and that's like 6 years from now. So that's a lot of content centered around the original trilogy. I just want something brand new.
And to be fair, we don't know
Yeah.
what stages these are at, because these rumors could be coming out of stages where they're just talking in a room being like, hey, we're kind of like just like ground zero pitch meetings, like, all right, we're going to be, what would it look like if we did a show like this, or talking about like what a Crimson Dawn show or a Lando show would look like. And of course you talk about a Lando show. Of course you talk about Donald Glover. I mean, it's a huge opportunity. I think it's definitely, there's narrative there, but like you're saying, it's just confusing that this comes as the front runner rumor when it seems like sparses of one show all over the place as their own headline. You know what I mean? And it's exactly. It seems like this should be one kind of big show. And so it's just interesting that all these rumors are kind of disconnected from myself right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, it's all interesting that it seems disconnected, because it feels like a weird, like, overarching MCU-esque type deal with the thought that Maul is going to appear in multiple projects. So that seems like the outreach of Crimson Dawn, which is kind of cool. That's kind of like what they did for the Defender series with the similar threat in both Daredevil and Iron Fist. But it's just so odd, because I would have like pitched the whole thing together as one, because I thought you could totally have a whole instance where you could have Han and Chewie doing jobs for Jabba, and you can have Lando in the mix of that too. He could like join the job, and also it could be a conflicting job against Crimson Dawn, and then that's a conflict with Han and Qi'ra. Like that's all perfectly laid out.
Right, you check off all the boxes like in one, and you don't write yourself in a position where characters can be like underwritten or don't have a lot to do. Like, not that Lando's a bad character or anything. Lando's one of my favorite characters ever, but also I think he works so well playing off other people. Like, I think even just like Lando and Qi'ra, Lando and Han, his character brings out different sides of people.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
Just going off of what we saw for Mando season 1, you can do a show that's both procedural and serial at the same time.
Yes.
Like, for example, for this Makes All the Two Happen thing, we could have Han and Chewie, like Nathan said, going on Jabba's missions. And then they need the assistance of Lando for one episode. But then also, as you get further along in the season, their job conflicts with the routes that Crimson Dawn is doing. So then, I mean, at the same time, you could also get Qi'ra and Maul.
So it evolves over time. Because it sounds like these rumors like the start of something, and then also the other rumors like the end of something. That's why it just seems so weird that they're like separate.
The separate things, yeah.
But
it's very confusing. Like, and Noah tweeted out like, looks like Makes All the Two Happen is actually happening, and it seemed like that's cool because Noah and Corey are very not confident, but they're laying on the rumor mill for the Crimson Dawn,
for the Crimson Dawn solo stuff,
and that makes a lot of sense, especially given how what's the screenwriter for Solo's name? John Kasdan.
Yeah.
How he like tweeted out like a lot of pictures of the symbols of the different crime bosses.
Syndicate War.
Syndicate War, exactly. Yeah, and that could be very interesting. We can get into that in a Crimson Dawn show. But yeah, it seems like so weird to separate all this stuff. So that's my girl Enfys Nest.
Yeah, right. So she's showing up with Cassian 100%.
Yeah, she's got it. But
I hope so.
So I see both positive and negatives. Like for like the negative connotation, it feels like a kind of like an adaptation of like where the separate Star Wars comics like came. I think they came together for the Vader Down series.
Oh, okay, yeah,
for the crossover. So so that it feels like odd in that standpoint, but I also can see like the merit of doing it, because now when I'm just like looking at the focus of just the Han and Chewie series, initially whenever I thought about that, I always imagined for some reason just one job for Jabba, but you can obviously do multiple. And I think they've proven Star Wars can execute group jobs like that with Rick Famuyiwa's episode 6 of Mando,
Yeah.
definitely.
which was great. And it would be like so good to see Han actually like proving himself as a smuggler, getting confident and getting in good graces with Jabba before getting that big screw up job that gets the price on his head.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, which would be phenomenal to see. And to the also other point, the thought of doing the crime factions of Crimson Dawn at its own series as well, I think could also work.
It definitely could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think Emilia Clarke can definitely lead a series that's like
Right.
6 to 8 episodes.
And that's what I was about to say. Like, as much as I love Han and Chewie, and I think they absolutely should play a role in this, I would love it centered on Qi'ra. Like,
Yeah.
and like, that was kind of my initial reaction. I was like, the Qi'ra character is right there, and so kind of right in the middle of all these different threads. She's literally the connective tissue between Han's upbringing, Han as, you know, a newfound smuggler, and all the Crimson Dawn stuff, and just how we left off in Solo. It's like the perfect connective tissue between all these things, and of course Lando and other characters. But at the same time, it's like, are these shows? I like what you were saying about the Vader down comic. Like, do you think the future of Star Wars and Disney Plus is kind of like building hype over like multiple shows like that? So it's like, you know, because we're waiting a year or we have been waiting for the next season of Mando. Do you think they would transition into something where they have like those separate shows like that, but then this is kind of their idea of merging, like, okay, the Lando series comes out, and then 4 months later, after that season ends, then the Qi'ra Crimson Dawn stuff comes out, and it would kind of evolve over different shows? Do you think that's maybe what they're thinking?
Yeah,
That's the
I
only
would
thing I can
like
think of.
that.
Like,
I could see that happening. In that scenario, are you including like a Han and Chewie show?
yeah, I think, but it's like, why separate so much?
Exactly. Even when I think of a Han and Chewie show, I'm like, I can't see Han and Chewie doing 6 episodes. I mean, I kind of can, like,
Yeah.
But even then, if I envision 6 episodes of a Han and Chewie show, I also have to include in my head Qi'ra being involved, Lando being involved.
Exactly.
But if Lando's being involved, why do you have his own show?
Do you think,
it gets very complicated.
Do you think it would be like a merging point? Like, could you see like these shows running congruently to where like they're doing their own set stories, but then like some episodes actually do cross paths before splitting back off?
Yeah, I can see that. Like, kind of. Like you said, like having a crossover episode, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what CW does.
What CW does, yeah.
But yeah, just I know we laugh, but like honestly, it does work out when you like set your own set storylines for your characters. So then when they do come together, it's even more like big, grandiose because you had so much time devoted to these individual beings.
It builds up hype. It's very successful.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think like part of the allure of Disney Plus is a lot more control of that hype in a sense, because you're able to like, especially like look at just how Mandalorian, just like even a simple choice of as going week to week, people were talking about Baby Yoda over an extended period of time. Maybe they're thinking, you know, people are gonna be talking about Han and Chewie over an extended period of time, like, oh, this week on this show he's doing this or whatever.
Yeah, sounds like so much fun. Yeah.
Or even to a similar point, like what if they did a thing where, so they want to like maintain a pace of like focus of a show, maybe you can do individual episodes of like half of a season, then go on hiatus to go to the next season, to the next series, and then have that do the same thing before they come back together for the congruent crossover episodes.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I had to also think about like as the difference between us as like, you know, Star Wars fans who are, you know, pretty much reading this as this, all these rumors and all this stuff, and people that are just going on Disney Plus that are casual Star Wars fans. Like, what is is that? Because I'm sure they don't want to have like a setup of like a little universe in this that is confusing to people. Because I feel like some people were like confused where Solo was set and like all that stuff. Like I feel like there's always gonna be people confused, but I feel like they definitely they definitely want to have it something that can just someone can turn on, click the Star Wars section, and click on. You know what I mean?
I imagine they'll have like descriptions for these series that specifically like label after the events of Solo Star Wars story.
Definitely, yeah. So that's what I also think about.
So you're saying like it would be hard to be like to have all these crossovers if they don't
if you're like, episode 4 of the Han Solo show, and then you it's like how Clone Wars is like out of order. Like imagine if like this stuff is all over the place, and you're like, okay, so you got to go to this series show page to find the episode where that crosses over with that.
I think that makes sense. Which goes back to why I guess a pro for the individual shows like Lando. Like you don't have to know anything about Solo, even a Solo Star Wars story. You don't have to know that to watch the Lando show. You can just be, it's young Lando going on an adventure. That's cool.
And it's like obviously it's making me think now that they're going off of like characters because it has more of an easy to understand, like, okay, what is about. Like if you just name a show Crimson Dawn, people are like, what the heck is that? Like, what is Crimson Dawn? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? And so if it's just Lando, like that's a show. Like people are like, oh, Lando show. Like, you know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, to be fair, though, like, people didn't know what a Mandalorian is until they watched the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
even though he does look like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And even to that point, like that doesn't even completely dive into full like Clone Wars Rebels lore, but it does open the door to your own discovery. Same thing like with Maul popping up in Solo at all. Like that's like to a casual viewer, they're just like, what, he's alive? Like
good point. Yeah.
And like, it's kind of like counterintuitive like to assume people that don't know, because we're making a show called The Bad Batch. Like that's such a specific like thing from a recent clone. It's like that's how big the Star Wars fandom is. Get like shows of that such specific nature that are getting made. So it's like there's no shortage of people that like know a lot about Star Wars. You know what I mean? I guess.
And even to that point, like even to the people who are like on Disney Plus already and they may have like seen the Bad Batch episodes, like new subscribers like will still have to like scroll down to season 7 of Clone Wars to find their arc.
Yeah.
It
will be interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But I think
do you think they'll like present on like the feature page like specific like things like to view together, or like what specific labeled episode? Because sometimes they do that with a new release, but do you think for like build up?
Maybe they could. Maybe not. Like they could just say like watch Solo, basically.
Okay. Carson cut out there.
But like I don't think they really need. They kind of do that on Disney Plus with the whole Vader series. They have like a Vader timeline thing on Disney Plus in the Star Wars section. Like, here's all the movies that Darth Vader is in. You guys can watch that. So they could do that for like Solo.
Yeah, I feel like. I mean, it's all just it's a mixed bag of just like, because we don't know how things can get executed and how it'll go.
Exactly, it's so early in development. We have to talk. Yeah, we hear you. But we have to talk about it because like with the Bad Batch thing, Noah and Corey were so on the nose and on the point with that. So I'm starting to trust them a lot right now.
And do you see his recent tweet today? Apparently, they're dropping a Cassian news on Tuesday, so that would be
very exciting. Hopefully, that news is that Enfys Nest is on the show.
I would love that. I mean, it seems like they're pulling a lot of like Solo news.
Because the female characters in Solo are fan-freaking-tastic.
I was listening. I'm doing this like random thing. I'm doing this experiment in my editing where I'm seeing if I could function the Solo and Rogue One in the style of like episodic, like how the Mandalorian's presented with like set like recap intros and like outros divides to see how that would play out. I was just curious to like get a look of their ideals since we're getting Cassian and now potentially the Solo stuff. But also because I've also heard people say like they feel like things would have gone a lot better had they been streamed first as series.
I think so too. Yeah, I think Solo would have been a fantastic series. I think we would already hear about a Solo 2 series if Solo went straight to digital as a series.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? We're talking about all this stuff, and I guess like Evan was saying at the beginning of this discussion, it's like none of these there's not been one rumor about the Leslie Headland, what the show is even about, like besides female Jedi, you know. But at the same time, that's the only one that's been officially confirmed by Lucasfilm. You know what I mean?
Very fascinating. Yeah.
And so it's like, is this all noise? Like, I don't know. Like,
we're hearing so much stuff about the Solo stuff, which could happen like Lando, Qi'ra, and Crimson Dawn. That could all happen after. Hopefully, it happens after the Leslie Headland show, because that's what I'm most excited about.
And it's interesting too. Like, why now has the I guess buzz or hype engaged back in the Solo? I mean,
I think because the world we live in right now, Carson, with the whole COVID, everything that happened, everything's so paused. What can people do in the industry that they can't
brainstorm?
They can't film anything, so let's brainstorm.
I'm sure also a lot more people are also probably finally discovering it as well. And I think it's especially helped with the Make Solo 2 Happen movements, like
definitely
both trending both years in a row. Getting like especially the first year of like getting the attention of Ron Howard and everybody, and then also this year again, Jonas being a big advocator for it, and just like the noise being so continued that like even more so this year, a lot more we're talking about it.
But going back to that, so much noise, and all we hear is a Lando and a Crimson Dawn show.
Yeah,
like no Han and Chewie.
I mean, granted, they're not official Lucasfilm either, but it's still
great. Totally, yeah. And granted, like whenever people always said like, Evan, do you want Make Solo 2 to happen? I'm like, yes, with Qi'ra. So I'm happy that Qi'ra is in the rumor mill somehow.
Yes.
Like given everything that's happened, I hope Qi'ra can like lead the show. I always envisioned it because Emilia Clarke is an is she an A-lister? I guess. Well, she's a high-name celebrity. I guess you can say A-lister.
Yeah.
Because of Game of Thrones changes everything. I think she can lead her own show. Like, have her be the lead of a Crimson Dawn show. I haven't read the Most Wanted book with Han and Qi'ra, but I heard it's really good for Kira's story and her character journey. So just seeing all the political and all the intriguing, like what's going on inside of her head while she's trying to navigate Crimson Dawn after the events of Solo could be super interesting.
Yeah, I hope we get that political thriller edge to it. Just even the small taste of it at the end of Solo when, you know, you see Maul's lightsaber in her eyes and she's just like, you know, she has to play it straight. Like, yeah, he's dead. Mm-hmm. Like, even though all those emotions are flooring her at the moment of having to, you know.
Yeah, like that's the story we want to see. Yeah. And I also want to see Qi'ra and Han meet again.
That's what I was just about to bring up.
That feels like so much drama.
Especially just after him standing on the beach with Chewie, just seeing
which is the best scene in the movie. Easily.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
So good.
Just the thought of like how he must be. I mean, he just must be feeling like all sorts of emotions like on that beach.
And both
and then we get back into the smuggling game. But I imagine how great it would be. Like he's pulling. Actually, it would be great for like this scenario that like he's pulling the job that he's gonna screw up on job, and the reason he screws up is because something with Qi'ra.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yes. And even you can explore Han as like a deeper character in terms of like, maybe he's not doing his best here. Like, you know, this girl just and it could be literally the establishment of kind of the tragedy that ends up. It's like, you know, Han and Leia, The Force Awakens, we went back to what we were both good at. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's like that pattern just at the very beginning of Han's career.
Even Han in A New Hope is very different from Han in Solo. Han in Solo is very like, I have a good feeling about this, whatever. Like,
he's a lot more like not hardened, but he's a lot more just like non-caring.
You're right, Nathan. Yeah, he's hardened and non-caring, which starts.
And I'm watching Solo,
leaving him.
And I'm watching Solo back, and like so many moments, I'm looking around, and it's just like he has so much compassion.
So much compassion. Right. Even like she's like, I know who you truly are. Like, you're the good guy, which kind of sums up his arc in all the movies. But still, he's still very hardened. So we can.
He has to learn. He has to learn how to be that in certain situations too,
which we haven't seen. Like
we haven't seen that much of.
Which is why
and that was a big thing. I was writing this piece of article I write for this site called What's New on Jakku, and they were coming to us about like, hey, we're looking to do this project of every individual Star Wars film, some writer gets assigned one, and it's like, what makes it the best Star Wars elements from it to you? And I was given Solo, and I was just like gushing so much about, especially like Han's compassion and just like the theme of hopefulness that's like layered within the dice of like trusting it to Qi'ra and stuff. I was like going off about all that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, he's
one of my favorite things at the end of Solo is when Qi'ra and Memphis Nest are standing next to each other, and Han's going down to talk with Beckett, and he's like, "What is he gonna do? He's gonna help you." I think that's the line.
Yeah,
like I love that. Like
he's very, very compassionate, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really want to see that like not fall to darkness for Han, but just like that hardened edge for Han. Because that was some of the complaints people gave the movie. They're like, "This isn't the Han Solo I know." It's like it isn't. Like both in terms of age, acting, and his character. Like he is a different character.
I love this show so much. It needs to happen.
It needs to happen with
the thing about like Han finding out why Qi'ra left him and figuring out like Qi'ra, I can help you, and like her probably trying to push him away.
Yeah,
like,
him.
No,
even though
like,
she also wants to be
Han,
with him too.
Dude, the thought of Han getting like that optimistic hope back of just like the thought of like him being like burned once by her leaving, but then like getting the optimism back, and then probably getting burned a second time could give him that structural mindset of where he is.
Yes.
Even though on the flip side, like
does Qi'ra die? I don't know.
I hope not. I hope not.
I hope not either. But like, where is she gonna be? Like,
live your best life, Qi'ra. Don't die. I would hate.
I know, but like,
because she saved Han Life. Like Han feels burned, but she did save his life.
Yes.
So
yeah, I could see like an instance where like maybe Qi'ra could actually be one of the faction rulers of a Crimson Dawn organization.
Totally,
and,
yeah,
and I could see like she'd be like running somewhere on the other side of the galaxy, like getting to like the point of like upward to where we get the New Hope, to where like she'll be personally good with Han, but like she'll have to do something that unfortunately like ruins him emotionally, and that leaves him more.
Yeah, I can see it being like Han. Like after Maul gets ousted from Crimson Dawn, he goes on to Rebels where he meets Ezra and Malachor. So we don't really know how that happens. That could be because of Qi'ra. And then afterwards, like in the original trilogy timeline, Qi'ra could just be like in charge of Crimson Dawn while Han goes off to do what he's best at, which is smuggling.
Yeah. Or we have a dynamic where Maul is probably going to oppress Qi'ra a lot, and whatever she messes up on, obviously there'll be conflict there. And maybe Qi'ra corrupts the syndicates from the inside out, and we see a conflict there of like Han. If Han, shows an ounce of himself or whatever it is, that could throw off her plans. It could be an instance where, kind of like the Holdo situation, where it's kind of like you have to trust in Han just wants to like talk like, oh, what are we doing? Like, but Kira's like, no, Kira's 4 steps ahead of like, I have to do this. So then this messes up, and then maybe the other syndicates come after Maul, and Qi'ra somehow is able to escape. Like, there's so much potential of different ways.
So much potential. Yeah. So much stuff to that. And like I said, I really hope she lives. Like she can stay in charge of a crime syndicate during the original trilogy, because we have no idea what Crimson Dawn is doing during the original trilogy or afterwards. So
yeah,
and maybe her end of I say like her like corrupting, because like her life has been, she's never truly escaped, and her belief at the Solo rings true of like, once you're in, you're never out. Like so maybe a very satisfying thing for me would be Qi'ra getting out of whatever that system is.
You're right, Carson. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I don't know, but
then
either way,
time,
she
she's
can
also
reclaim
a person.
It.
Yeah,
she can reclaim it for herself. Like
she's a person who also like. So I hear from the Most Wanted series, like Han, the kind of person that really wants to get out. Like Qi'ra can be the person that works from the inside and finally gets a good position gets a good
position where she has her own self-worth and everything. Like
exactly. It's kind of like Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi, where he's technically free from all his pain by being the leader of the darkness, whatever. So,
yes, I'd love that kind of character arc. Oh my god, man. We need this show now.
We need it. And Emilia Clarke, what are you doing? Last Christmas too? Like you're not doing anything else.
I love that.
I didn't see the movie.
Yeah,
I
Nathan's
like
on.
I really like it.
It's on HBO Max. I can watch it right now.
It's a nice one. I cried. I cried.
Of course
every
he
day.
did.
I
I
cried.
know. I
Like,
watched Sonic.
yeah.
I cried.
No, we were actually gushing about it in chat today because like Preston is like all about Amelia Clark right now, and
Yeah,
me
stand
and Josh
account.
were just like, "Have you seen Last Christmas?" out here watching Aquaman while drinking. It's like
I need to watch Last Christmas.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also sticking with just like a couple other points of stuff shared by Noah specifically.
Mhm.
He was like people were asking like so many questions, and he would like be like hinting at stuff. Like first off, he actually like he shared a separate source that he trusts reliably, that they were reporting on Hayden returning for Kenobi.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Which is kind of like an update of what we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
When that rumor mill first started. But yeah, I think with a lot of heat rising on this, I think Hayden, like initially I started to say Hayden doesn't really need to appear, but now as I think about it more, a vision of Hayden would be awesome. Vader, I don't need.
I was actually watching the Corey made a full video explanation on the scoop on his channel, and I watched it through, and it looked like they were saying like through the development of Kenobi, like back when it was initially going to be a film, they were looking to see about having Hayden in some form of a role, and I think it's been throughout the passage of time through the development with how popular the prequels have become to fans, as well as Hayden himself, and like the whole Clone Wars aspect, everything, that like his role became a lot more substantial in the development of the story. So it looks like as well they're going to be diving further into the Clone Wars flashback element. I don't know if it would just be like flashbacks or like full extensive sequences, but it's kind of interesting to see like what they're going to do at that point. I don't know if they said anything of Ahsoka's appearance for it, but I know I could see how they could it with like all the previous reports of like
I could totally see it too. Yeah.
Whether that actually adapts or not. I'm just for nothing else, I would just love to see Hayden and Ewan act together again, and I would especially love to see them in their Clone Wars armor. I think that would be
awesome. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it rendered in like Battlefront 2 game, but and even like I think on one of the Thrawn books, Anakin's in it, but to see it like physically brought to life, that's something else.
Yeah. I would love to see that. Like again, I think this show's going to be a lot of flashbacks and a lot of that internal turmoil.
Battle.
Yeah. So I would be all up for Anakin.
And I hope we don't see Vader. I would love like just like hints and stuff of like through the Force and kind of like that kind of stuff. Where
exactly because Obi-Wan
can't put the
knows
pieces together, but like
Obi-Wan, like in Revenge of the Sith, he sees Anakin getting called Darth Vader. I don't think he sees he doesn't connect the armor with like whatever is going on. But yeah, you're right, guys. I get really iffy on Vader.
Yeah, no, that actually gets like interesting to a point, because I imagine like Obi-Wan like being so out in the exclusion of the galaxy in such deep hiding just in the desert alone, that I'd imagine like he would so rarely go to town, and if he does, he probably isn't like picking up on like news or anything, because Tatooine's pretty desolate place. But like the thought of a Imperial transmission coming through and him hearing the name Vader and just like having to have a pause of panic at the thought that, because he thought he killed Anakin at the moment, the thought that maybe he's still out there would like frighten him, and maybe even like start off with like it's not even confirmed like he knows yet, he just kind of hears that in passing mention, and he's like mentally dealing with that before actually getting real confirmation. He doesn't have to actually like meet Vader, but I can see some like hologram transmission of like an appearance or something, or like some figure form of just like a profile photo or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that can manifest in the fear of Imperial forces too. Like, there's certainly situations in which, the Empire going around from planet to planet, just like absolutely destroying places. Or so I think I don't know much about the full history of like Imperial forces on Tatooine or wherever, but like I think that could be something where it's like that fear could be heightened because maybe he does overhear the Vader thing, and then more Imperial forces start to come to Tatooine or something. If there was a reason to be there, of course. But like he becomes more fearful and like literally paranoid that he's trying to watch over Luke, and like maybe it gets so bad that like he doesn't think Tatooine is safe for him anymore. That could be an angle too.
And then he tries to leave, but he can't because
he can't. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's tons of stuff they could play with, like the big plot points of the show. But I like Evan said, I think it's gonna be more reflective and kind of like post traumatic, where we get a lot of these flashbacks. But it's interesting. I think as I've thought on it too, I understand that it's a pretty integral piece to this, and I didn't before. But I think, I don't know, it's growing on me. So I'm not really sold on live action Ahsoka yet. I'm curious to see how that plays out in Mandalorian.
Do you see any connective transmission, maybe even like one between Obi-Wan and Bail Organa?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely, yes.
If he's going to be in Cassian, all it takes is one session at Lucasfilm to be like, hey, do some ADR, maybe making like a hologram session with him and Kenobi. That would be awesome.
What would be absolutely fascinating is like we get Obi-Wan at like a breaking point, and like some random person like sees him use the Force accidentally, like, or something like Obi-Wan just comes out of a post-traumatic like flashback, and like because he's so frightened like internally like from the Force, like stuff just starts floating around him, and someone sees that. Like what if like on a small they see him use the Force, like what if they find out and that becomes like he has to silence that?
But
like,
what if that person is Uncle Owen? Like what if Uncle Owen sees that, and that's where you get the dynamic between Owen and Kenobi?
That would be
where
amazing.
Owen's very fearful. I don't want you near my boy, dude.
Yeah, what if he's scared of Obi-Wan? Like that's
yeah, because they always had that relationship.
I could actually see a point of like, because we know Obi-Wan's been like a really like reserved, formal being, but like with so much stress weight on him, I could see like some element where he's like just so in his mind like freaked out that maybe some semblance of anger actually does slip, and like maybe just like a crate or something gets like dented in or something, and it could like freak out Owen, or maybe even like Luke could be around and get scared or something, and Owen could be more protective in that sense.
I'm shocked we haven't heard much more about Joe Edgerton in the show, because he's a given, right? Like I think Joe Edgerton has to be in the show.
Yeah, I think he said he'd be open to returning, as well as the actress that played Beru.
Yeah. I think those have to happen, but I mean that leads into the rumor from I forget what source it was, but they said Kenobi might start filming in March of 2021.
Yeah.
Which means a 2022 spring, about 2022 release date for Kenobi. Do we think the Bad Batch show now is going to be the only show for 2021? Because I think Cassian, I always thought Cassian was going to be 2021. But given the virus and all the delayed filming, I don't know if Cassian can actually still make that 2021 release date. If it is, it's going to be really close.
They're even filming right now? Did they ever start?
I thought they said they're going to go start filming in August or something.
Yeah, in July or August or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to look that up.
We should ask Kessel Run Transmissions if.
Oh my god! So yeah, like to another point, Noah kept like vaguely answering fans of like giving hope, and like somebody was like bringing up that they wanted more Ben stuff, and then somebody replied, "Nah, there's no actual way Adam would actually like physically want to return to any capacity of the role, whether it be voice or otherwise." And then Noah quotes a tweet, and he's just like, "Well, you know,"
animated
and I'm just like, "Don't play games with me, Noah."
Wait, he said for what actor?
For Adam.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I really would. I want to.
They have to do the animated series.
I would love
that every single week.
Yeah, people always talk about how like Adam Driver, all the sequel trilogy people are done with Star Wars. Like, first of all, of course they're done, but
it's been a trilogy. They're tired.
Yeah, it's a trilogy. Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill did the same thing. So
yeah, it's also funny to the point that also Alden has not seen Rise of Skywalker and he didn't even know about the Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's too funny.
I love that so much.
That's so Harrison Ford. Like
he's literally stepping in his shoes, and that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He's very method.
But also going into 2021, we could have the Rebel sequel. That could be.
That's what I was also going to bring up.
That
I think
be the 2021
next year we will get Bad Batch and the Rebels predecessor. I think Bad Batch will be earlier in the year, and I think Rebels will be like September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't think they can film Mando and or Cassian. No. Yeah, Mando season 3 and or Cassian by the end of this year, because Mando season 1 was able to film like starting in October or
season 2. Yeah, they started October. Season like 2, as it was airing season 1, they were filming.
Yeah, they were filming, and then now a year later it's coming out. Like exactly a year later. So going by that timeline, I don't think Cassian, given the restrictions of filming these days, is able to come out next year. I hope it could, but I don't think so. So yeah, it looks like it could be an animated 2021 for Star Wars.
Yeah, and then live action heavy 2022
with
and leading into
Kenobi,
our 2023. What's our next topic?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Nice transition.
They've all been quite pushed. 2023, 25, and 27 for this trilogy.
I would be 31 in 2027.
Oh my god,
that's crazy.
I will be, I think 29.
Yeah, me and Nathan will be 29.
Oh, that's wild.
By December, I'll be 29. So that's crazy perspective. Some people.
So let's.
I mean, yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, my nephew will be like around 10 or something. Like he could physically go see these. Like that's crazy.
But let's talk about this, okay? So, do we still think Taika can make? Because initially with the 2022 movie, we're like, "There's no way Taika's doing that one," because Thor: Love and Thunder comes out like what, February 2022?
Yeah, it's set for 2022. Marvel's crazy because they have like 4 releases back to back, 2 months apart.
Yeah,
that has to shift. But
that has to shift.
Yeah, it's interesting because Taika has just begun writing his Star Wars film. It's been
is Thor finished writing? Is he finished writing?
He said he's doing he's like
no. He said it's done, and he said it's
it's done. Okay. Yeah, he said it's like romantic and hilarious or whatever.
Oh yeah, which. Hell yeah, romantic comedy, let's go.
Give me a rom-com in Star Wars, please. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, no, that a lot of people were just like, okay, so Taika just said this about Thor, and now he's starting a Star Wars because he said he's in a romantic mood right now, and I'm just like,
exactly. Like, give me a romance in Star Wars. I need it.
Absolutely.
That doesn't end in tragedy, please.
Please, new time periods. Let's go.
So Thor comes out February 11th, 2022.
Whatever happened to what happened to the Lord of the Rings sentiment of he lived happily ever after to the end of his days?
Star Wars doesn't believe in that anymore.
Evan, I think he can make possibly December 2023.
I think so too.
Is that what the date is? Are they all
December 2023. December 17th or whatever.
Now?
Because
if he finishes, like that's what James Gunn is kind of doing with Guardians and Suicide Squad.
And because once they get to editing, I think he can.
Because Thor comes out in February, they could start filming Star Wars in like, let's say March or April of 2022. Year turnaround plus an additional 6 months. It could be close. So 2023. So for all we know, with the announcement of Taika, they could have already had the deal set up with him. Like, hey, later this summer we're going to delay these movies, so we'll give you a year. So could you do our 2023 movie, Taika? Maybe he accepted that. But if not, Taika's definitely doing the 2025 movie. But then who would be directing the 2023 movie? So all these things are up in the air.
Yeah, and it's like it sounds like there was a 2022 movie. I mean, the very fact that it's only pushed 1 year seems very likely that there was already something that they wanted to get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's been not. Because we were questioning that last episode. It's like, is there even a 2022 movie idea? Like, we would have heard about it by now.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think they were already thinking of shifting to 2023. So this works out for them.
Yeah.
yeah, so I hope Taika's directing the 2023 one. I mean, if not, he's doing 2025.
Are these related? Next question. Are like
I don't think so, because I think Ryan's the only
they're so
one.
close together though. Like just
They
being 2 years
are.
apart each around the same release.
Yeah, I can't see Taika doing a trilogy.
Well, not like every trilogy. You don't think he can do like a piece of a trilogy or a whole trilogy?
I don't think. I think he can do a piece of a trilogy. I think he can, but I think the director after him, which is all we have so far, is Rian Johnson. He's the only one confirmed right now. I don't think he would do like a sequel to Taika. I just don't see it.
Okay.
Like I can see him doing his own thing, especially since he's been gestating on his Star Wars ideas since Last Jedi came out. I don't think he wants to have to backtrack and do something that follows up Taika's film.
Yeah,
sure,
I agree. But I don't know. It's like I'm just waiting for all the pieces of the puzzle to settle. Like I feel like
too.
Hopefully in the next year we get an answer to like what that 2023 movie is.
Yeah, hope by next celebration, which is next year, right? Or when is celebration again? 2022. 2022, yeah. So by then we have to. That's 2 years from now. By then we have to know, Taika, are you doing the 2023 movie? Are they connected to Rian Johnson's stuff? I mean,
is Ryan even happening? Like,
is Ryan even happening?
By that 2021. 2020 by 2022 we have to know if Ryan's coming back or not. It just has to be answered,
because right now it seems like the obvious thing for Ryan is doing Knives Out 2. When the press starts happening for that, people are going to ask, guess what, are you doing Star Wars still? So it's going to come up every time Ryan's in the spotlight. So I think, I mean, like, why not? By the time 2027 rolls around, it will be exactly 10 years since Last Jedi. That's enough time for Ryan to start his own new thing in Star Wars. It's a 10-year break. So it's crazy to think about, like, the gap between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens was 10 years.
10 years.
And then Ryan doing Last Jedi to his next possible movie in 2027.
He'll be like in his 50s. Wow. How old is Ryan?
I think I would say 40s.
Yeah, Ryan will be in his 50s by then. We thought we were old. I'm just kidding. That's not that old, but
no, I mean 30 isn't that old, but like
Rian Johnson is 46. Yeah.
So he'd be 56. Wow. He'd be almost to his 60s.
We say that, but then we have George Miller making 5 movies at 88.
Yeah, no, I was just going to bring up Ridley Scott, who didn't like his first movie until he was like 30, right?
Yeah, insane.
Yeah. All pretty wild.
I really hope. I don't think Rian Johnson's still doing his trilogy, but I just want one more film.
More.
Yeah, give me one more, and maybe a female director there in between there too.
Yes, please.
For the what?
A female.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring. I want Jennifer Lee to do a Star Wars movie.
Yes, Jennifer Lee. We need to start like a hashtag make Jennifer Lee Star Wars happen.
I'm gonna start tagging her on Twitter, like adding Jennifer.
We should make some threads of just like actresses we want in Star Wars.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That could be a whole episode. We could dedicate like why we want them for Star Wars. Like which directors would we pick? Like if we were Lucasfilm, what would we do right now? Like that could just be an episode. We should
have a pitch meeting episode. Everybody just like starts.
Yes, that would be hilarious.
And then the board can rule if I get a job or not. If I get groceries this week. No, it's a lot of fun. And then it was also apparently just like from the noise of Star Wars going around that apparently like currently in production there's 9 Star Wars projects in production.
Yeah. Did you say 9 Disney Plus projects or just
Disney Plus projects?
Just I think just Star Wars in general. No, I think it is Disney. Let me look.
It's Disney Plus. I don't remember the tweet, but it was like production is a loose term of like various stages. You know what I mean? Like they could just be ideas, but like kind of starting to move forward or whatever.
Star Wars shows on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Okay, so let's count that out then. Like, what do we have?
So we got Kenobi and Cassian, Bad Batch, Rebel Successor.
Guess you can't mount Mando future seasons.
Yeah, let's do Mando season 3. Yeah,
or even like right now, season 2 is in development.
Yeah,
it's in post production. So that's 5.
6. Isn't that 5? Is that 5 or 6?
Fine.
That's
I think
fine. So yeah, Kenobi and Cassian, Rebel successor,
Two animated.
Mando.
Bad
What was
Batch.
the one I said? Bad Batch. I don't know if I said Bad Batch though yet. So.
Oh no,
You did. You're at 5. Okay, and then Lando / that'd be 6.
Lando, Maul, Qi'ra as separate things.
Yeah, if they are.
And yeah, I guess some mystery stuff.
The Leslie Headland show.
Oh,
Leslie. Yes, Leslie.
And then the Ahsoka show.
Is that still a rumor? I don't know.
It's still. I mean, everybody else tweeted about it.
Sure.
I mean, that's just as much a rumor as the Lando thing.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I think they were also saying like there's some stuff gearing up for other stuff for Lucasfilm Animation. So.
Yes, I saw Lucasfilm recruiting, like it's hiring a bunch of.
I heard Corey and Noah talking about in a thread saying the 2D thing might not be a thing anymore.
Oh
Darn.
But I don't know. They didn't make a full article about it.
Okay, talking about Jennifer Lee again for a second. Imagine a big animated Star Wars feature on the big screen. Like
awesome.
that would totally imagine like Frozen's animation. It don't even have to be that style, but just like
gosh.
Like that for Star Wars. Like I don't know, watching the Frozen documentary, the Frozen 2 documentary, I'm like, yes, lightsabers in this.
That'd be so
perfect.
Down.
Like
she's in the Disney family. Come on, Jennifer.
Yeah. Give her $100 million, and let's go to work. Like
on an original IP.
Yeah.
It could be High Republic. Come on.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Let's go.
Can you imagine then watching that and seeing how Star Wars animation, the last Star Wars animation on the big screen was the Clone Wars release in 2008. Like how much
the animation is.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Siege of Mandalore looks so cinematic already.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Man.
So I think that experience needs to be on the big screen in animated form at some point. I think that's one of the untapped things they could do. Like,
but she can also do live action as well, which I hope.
Yeah. So I would give her both. I mean, let's go.
But yeah. The future of Disney Plus, the future of Star Wars does seem to be on Disney Plus, and
indeed.
Yeah, initially, like before we even got to the route of Disney Plus, I was very apprehensive at such a thought because I was just so locked with like the big cinematic space opera on the biggest screen possible. But after you see everything executed with Mandalorian and seeing how Clone Wars finished off, and just hearing all these potential shows, and now that we know like the Mandalorian structure, give us an idea of how you structure these new stories. I'm convinced now. Yeah,
me too. Yeah, like
they changed 2 a.m. thing. I don't like staying up till 2 a.m. and having to watch the episode.
Oh yeah, they need to shift to like
they really do
a midnight release.
Bad. It's like 2:20 a.m.
I mean, it's cool that like okay, you get a midnight release on the West Coast, but on the East Coast it's 3 a.m. Like shift.
It's awful.
Shift the East Coast to midnight at the latest, and then you can have 9 o'clock premiere for the West Coast, and then everybody's talking about your show that night, and then the next day.
Exactly,
like a 7 p.m. premiere. Like I don't understand.
Like every other show, like HBO has it right. Like Game of Thrones, guys, guess what comes on 9 o'clock, and it's the highest show ever.
Amazing. That would build more hype. That would be more hype. Like Mandalorian, 9 p.m. Friday. Let's go.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Normally, most people just wake up the day of and like, okay, they'll discuss it, and then that day's gone. However, you can discuss it live as it premieres the night of, and then the next day you see people.
Because you have all the night crawlers talking about it, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't watched it yet. And then it's like 2 different discourses going around.
I think they want to be like Netflix, but Netflix is different. They're doing a binge thing. So I understand, even though I don't like it, I understand 13 episodes of a season dropping at 3 a.m. Because guess what? I can watch that when I wake up in the morning. All the shows are going to be there. It's hard to get spoiled because unless somebody watches 13 episodes in one night. But like,
from 3 a.m.
Yeah, from 3 a.m. That's going to be hard to do. So it's fine. I'm cool with Stranger Things dropping because I'll watch it in the morning, whatever. But for a show with only 1 episode per week, just drop it at a regular time like everything else. Not that hard.
Not that.
Yeah.
Not that. Yeah. No, you're totally right.
Not that hard. Coming to Disney Plus.
Backdoor content.
But Yeah,
I joke so much about Backdoor Pilot. Like I was filming my poster video yesterday, and I randomly brought something up as like a Backdoor Pilot. And I even like shied you guys out a couple of times because just like talking about our like pinned like discourse of like pins through posters or framed.
Oh god.
Which is it's funny, but like I mean, the only reason I bring it up and it's just because like I'm also like I'll do a more official announcement when there's actually like proper viewership because we just hit the hour mark and we're very low viewership. But I'm gonna like be looking into. I realize I have so many duplicates of posters, Star Wars included, that I would totally be down to do giveaways for. Like I actually have opening night IMAX poster prints from like The Last Jedi and a ton from Solo. I don't know if I have any like spare ones for Rogue One, but I'd have to like.
Yeah, the Solo ones you gave me are so cool. And
like I showed the video to Evan. Like I'm gonna give him a couple because apparently I didn't. Yeah, it's like you get the first one with the main crew with Han, Chewie, Qi'ra, Beckett, and Lando in L3 in front of the Falcon, and the other one is Empress Ness and the Marauders.
Yeah, that one's the best one.
Oh, they're so good. They were exclusive to the IMAX. It's so funny because I was just like going through my collection, and I find like my prints, and I'm just like I it's at the top of my closet, so I like bring it down. And I'm like, why the hell are these small prints so heavy? And I send them down, and I realize I have I had like a Captain Marvel print, and it's a thick stack. I started like spindling it like a book. Like there's just like
like where you took.
It was like a stack of like 20 or something. Like I have so many. I have so much for Endgame. So there's just so much I'm gonna do like individual giveaway stuff. Occasionally, it's like maybe like weekly somebody could like win a poster based on a selected comment in the comments, and we can like weekly do poster giveaway.
That sounds cool. Yeah,
it'd be fun.
We do comments or maybe questions.
If you ask the best question.
Yeah,
related to the episode, so we get viewership.
Title of the episode, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done like questions on air. We could start doing that for giveaways and stuff. That could be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know if there's too much more to talk about, and
yeah, real quick, I wanted to talk about some of the what's it called, the publishing stuff because I watched that yesterday.
Oh yes.
Oh sure, yeah. We got 18 minutes. You go.
Cool. They're continuing the Vader's Castle thing from IDW the Disney IDW, which seems pretty cool. I never read the original line of those, but I might want to now because everybody always has some great things to say about that one. So,
aren't they also labeled as like a Galaxy of Adventures thing? I think they have that title at the top or like something. I don't know the art style.
Star Wars Adventures. Yeah, Star Wars Adventures, Shadow of Vader's Castle.
Yeah, Adventure.
They're going back. And then there's also some pre-TROS stuff with Finn, Poe, and Rey.
Oh, yeah. I also saw there's pages flying around of the new Shakespearean adaptation for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, like...
The Merry Rise of Skywalker.
It's the best news of it.
Oh yeah.
Trandoshan Jedi there.
Yeah, so awesome.
Oh, but with the Merry Rise of Skywalker, it's so funny because like the cover is like an old timey Babu Frick with like a little old guitar, which is so good. And I haven't fully read it yet, but like the first few pages of just the holo chess game between Finn and Chewie and Poe at the beginning was released, and just like reading their speeches, just like this is insanity. I love it.
That's awesome. But yeah, they also talked about the my girl Afra, and now she's getting her own new comic book. I mean, she already had 2 issues, I think, so far in 2020. But of course, with the COVID and everything, the issues stopped. So Alyssa Wong, the creator and writer of the new Afra series, is just like promoting it during the Comic-Con. And she was saying how you don't really need to read the original Afra run to read this one, even though it helps. And how an upcoming arc, though, is going to be very spooky and horror oriented, which is right up my alley. So I can't wait to see, because you hardly ever see horror in relation to Star Wars, especially on like the biggest.
I would love to see more of that. I feel like the extent we've ever gotten is like off the top of my head, just like the initial start of the Vader hallway Rogue One scene is pretty spooky. anything that involves like the Force, like whether it's the Dagobah cave is mild, but it's still eerie.
Yeah.
But God,
I was
just like
thinking,
the thought of like the potential of like maybe some adaptation of High Republic stuff, having a dark side test, just diving more into horror element, that would be phenomenal.
That'd be awesome. But also like the layer of Grievous in the Clone Wars and that one zombie
Yeah.
episode would be horror.
I think even
inspired.
sometimes the Ezra's kind of trial in the temple when he first gets there.
Temple. Yeah. Pretty creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very happy for Liz Wong. Oh, also there's this new Southeast Asian character that she was excited to promote too, because you don't see that much of that in Star Wars. I think like the only other Asian, like the what's it called, Kanji Club from The Force Awakens, played by the guys from The Raid, but they're like Indonesian, so it's not really.
I swear to God, they repeated like the exact same line of dialogue, but they had different captions. I swear to God. I heard the exact same inflection of like the accent. I was just like, hold on, no, there's like no mix up. Like it was weird, but you know, tell that to Kanji.
But yeah, I'm excited for that because I love Afra and her comic run is awesome. Also,
I downloaded the book.
Yeah, about to say this week the book dropped. I downloaded it. I started listening to it, but I haven't finished it. So
I need to get it.
So far, so good.
Okay.
I need to get it the way Carson has me.
Don't reveal my secrets.
Pirate's life for me, sadly.
And then everything else besides the publishing panel was like Carson teased with the High Republic. So
yeah,
they're teasing slowly amount of things for the High Republic and what's going on. Like what's her name? Justina Ireland said there's this character called Avon Starros, which is an ancestor from Sana Starros, the ex-girlfriend of Dr. Avra and in the main Star Wars run. So Avon Starros is going to be in the High Republic as in like a great ancestor or whatever.
That's cool. Like those loose connections. It's not like too like over the top. It's like all right.
It's very
homage.
Even she was like, I don't know the whole family thing because Star Wars is weird with families, but
yeah,
they are related. And she's the main character. Avon Starros is the main character in that Test of the Jedi, that one High Republic book that they mentioned.
Oh yes,
Like,
is that the teen novel or the young adult novel?
Middle-aged teen novel. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm very looking forward to that. Yeah, young adult.
So we're getting that stuff. The first book is dropping.
I think that's coming in January,
and that's Charles Soule.
Charles Soule's in January. I think the other ones are either in January or February.
April, I think.
Yes, the original High Republic book drops for Taken by Mando stuff, right?
I don't know when that Mando stuff comes out.
It's Test of Courage, actually. Test of Courage.
That sounds right.
So yeah, they get stranded on a planet with some other High Republic Jedi, and things get crazy.
Any of that Mando stuff at the panel?
What?
Did they mention any of the Mando book stuff at the panel, or I mean, they just
not at all. That's a great point. Not at all. But
I guess it was already announced.
Yeah, I guess because it was already announced. But even the Mando stuff, it's like, I guess that's coming in December after Mando season 2, which would be weird. But they didn't announce a release date for the the Star Wars High Republic comic books, because remember those were supposed to come like.
It makes sense though, because that's everything's kind of on hold with comic physical releases right now.
Even though comics are starting up again, next week, like Afra is going to start coming out every other week. Vader, the main Star Wars run, that's going to be back in full production in August, in late July. So yeah, I guess I would assume High Republic stuff could start resuming back in October, and then the books come out later on. But I don't know, because I always thought the High Republic would start with Charles Soule's
novel. So maybe it does.
So maybe comics just come out in January. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars publishing in the future that I'm very much excited about.
Absolutely, it's all very exciting, and I look forward to it all.
Wait, real quick. Sorry. There's a Vader comic book, the main Vader one that's coming right now, written by Greg Pak. He said how it's going to connect to the Rise of Skywalker as well. That was a very interesting tidbit.
Vader is going to connect to Tross?
Yeah. And this new Vader run takes place after The Empire Strikes Back. So Luke just basically in his head, he's saying how Luke basically rejected him, which is a parallel of Padme rejecting Anakin in Mustafar. So it was like trying to get into Vader's mindset, like how does he struggle with that? Apparently, he goes back to Tatooine.
I need
of course,
but also he said one of the upcoming arcs in the next couple of months is going to tie into the Rise of Skywalker and how Palpatine might be punishing Vader. So people are assuming, is Vader going to actually go as some kind of punishment for the Empire Strikes Back? So I have no idea.
I'd be curious how that goes. Like maybe, I don't know if it's like a navigation thing through it, or if it's like there's something hidden within that. Because I think that's a Sith temple it is, right? So
I think so, yeah.
I imagine there's stuff interesting. Yeah, I don't think. Do you think the Sith followers are existing in that temple and running it, or do you think it's abandoned?
I would think they're running it. I think they're waiting for Palpatine or just living their life. I don't know.
See, like what the kind of line of thought is like when Exegol was like established and all that, and kind of like how Palpatine had that in the back of his mind or whatever.
Exactly. So a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Well, I look forward to it. But with that said, I do have to wrap up the show because I have to be on my merry way to another live stream. So that'll be fun. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining us for episode 27 of Hyperspace Hype. New developments coming in regards of giveaways as soon as I can make enough money to send shipping. So that being said, Evan, give a grocery. I gotta like get that healthy balance. But Evan, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9, reacting to every new rumor that seems to be happening every week now with all these Disney Plus TV shows. And I'm going to start getting into the comics again more, especially the Afra comic, the Vader comic, the main Star Wars comic. So I'm going to be talking about that more on the Hyperspace Hype as well.
All right, Carson, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at TheFilmCarson, and also just taking a week break, watching some movies, and kind of doing whatever, just enjoying the rest of the summer here. Summer is already half or two-thirds of the way done. It's crazy. It's,
don't even say it.
Quarantine is like somehow got to the phase where it goes fast, and I don't know what that means, but we'll be here to react to whatever is thrown our way in our little slice of Star Wars media. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next episode.
And as always, you can find me right here on my channel, as well as links in the description. Including on this channel, I have just recently completed a animatic, and the Raylos have found it, and it has been the best time.
Yes, go watch it.
Very much fueled by that. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's rough. It's a very rough cut, very first time, but
special editions, baby. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, literally, I did say like I'm probably gonna release some form of a special edition down the line where I get like more improved, because I'm actually like getting more detail. That's why I was legit up until 7 a.m. last night because I'm working on a new drawing for a commemorative. I'm doing a commemorative piece, and like I'm being more detailed. And I'm like,
yeah,
I love this. So it's gonna be fun. I'm switching up the art style more, and it's gonna be fun. So with that being said, you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe if not already. And that being said, hope you have a great day. May the force be with you.